All right, welcome to another podcast of At Witt's End. I'm Ken. That's Carson on one side, depending on how the camera works. I think we're on episode 28 of our inaugural year, correct?
Yeah.
So
28.
I'm on the west coast of the United States. Carson's in what's called Upper Austria in the town of Linz, city of Linz, 6,000 miles away, and 9 hours difference now because time has adjusted for the spring.
Yeah, a little while
So,
ago.
welcome. Kind of diverse episode today. I'll jump in with some entertainment that I went to. We've been kind of absent for 2 weeks. Both Carson and I have been doing some traveling for sports and entertainment recently.
And working.
Yes, and working. I went and saw a concert, Third Eye Blind, Northern California Bay Area band from the 90s. Really didn't have much expectations, but I really enjoyed the show. We had great seats down front. And it's been a while since I realized I haven't seen kind of a rock band in a while. And these guys rocked it. Great laser show. I know Third Eye Blind, it would not be considered a traditional rock band like, I don't know, ACDC, more alt.
Yeah, alt rock.
1990s alt rock.
Yeah.
But that said, that's what I expected. You know, they had some hit.
The genre that defined the 90s.
Yes, definitely. And, Bay Area band, it was their second to last show before they headed home, I guess. Lots of guitar, very loud. Ears were ringing, especially for us old people.
And what's different about, because I assume you saw this at Thunder Valley?
Yeah. The new venue, by the way.
Yeah, what's different in the new venue, right? So I would assume if it was the old one, whereas outdoors, it wouldn't have been as loud. It's an outdoor setting.
I think it depends. Because it was outdoors, they had larger amps. The sound was louder because it had to, broadcast out. It was outdoors. So if you sat in the rows in front of the amps, the speakers, yeah, I think it would be as loud but more distorted. I kind of miss the outdoor. And just for those of you not from this area, Thunder Valley is a Indian casino, very successful. They had built a outdoor, not really an amphitheater, but a concert venue in their parking lot. It became way more successful than they thought it would. There's a landfill nearby, and believe me, on the hot Northern California summer days of July,
the breeze
August,
in the right
September,
direction.
Yeah, it's funny. It's not pleasant, but I kind of miss the outdoor feeling of standing around where you bought the beer. You had wristbands on, trying to sneak in front. You had the whiff of the dump nearby. Kind of nostalgic, I guess, in a way. But the indoor arena tickets are more expensive. Everybody said they're more expensive because they can't seat as many, but I've asked, and it seats about the same as the outdoor. Surprising. So very much more controlled. Big signs everywhere saying you can't videotape or take pictures while everybody's holding up their phone videotaping. But Third Eye Blind, they rocked the place. Guitar solos were phenomenal, loud. Yes, kind of alt rock. Big songs like Jumper.
So you give it the Kenny Concerts recommendation?
I would. And so we got in there early, just real quick. Went to the bar, got a couple of cocktails, and the guy in front of us. There's some shows coming up. Oh yeah, that'd be a great show like Styx or Frampton. But they start talking to us. The guy has been traveling with the band, kind of like Deadheads used to do. The guy was from Austin, Texas.
Interesting.
And then we see him with the camera. He's in the very front row singing every word to every song. He and his wife or girlfriend. So don't remember the guy's name, but we shout out to a true fan.
Yeah.
And then another entertainment venue, Caesars, the Coliseum in Las Vegas. We went to see Seinfeld, which, again, I kind of had low expectations because I'm kind of used to the comedians that are, the Chris Rocks of the world.
But Seinfeld is one of the preeminent comedians.
He's kind of the from the old style comedian transferring to the modern.
He was that transition era because he wasn't the
He's not vulgar. He's not offensive. Although he has said he does not do universities anymore because people get upset with his comedy, and he doesn't want to deal with
every
it.
comedian
Says
says
that.
it.
But
Yeah,
I will say I love his show. I always have. I can watch repeats constantly. But I never thought, you know how they have clips of his stand up act during the show?
yeah.
I can't say I laughed that much. So I wasn't expecting to laugh much, but I will say, Seinfeld, you were hilarious. You brought it. I loved it. I laughed a lot. And his opening act was a comedian. He's done you know, where he does the coffee in his car. He takes somebody
Yeah,
for
cars and
coffee.
coffee.
Cars and
Yeah.
coffee. Yeah.
Comedians
Um,
in cars getting coffee.
yeah.
Correct
And I guess
myself.
it's an old buddy of his been on a show, a black guy named Mario something. He was hilarious too. Single guy. You know, he's been on TV a while, but very funny. Both very funny. I will say Jerry had one f bomb during the whole show, and he actually had a Q&A at the end, which was, I thought, phenomenal for a venue that size. And I've never been to too many comedy shows in big venues just because it doesn't seem like it'd be that funny. But this
Yeah.
was, and I'm excited about he just finished wrapping on a new movie for Netflix. I think I told you about it. It's called Frosted. It's a movie about the development of the Pop Tart. It's not a documentary. It's nothing about, you know, the actual.
Yeah.
It's a movie about the Pop Tart. And for those in Europe, you probably don't know, Pop Tart's a
They have Pop
staple of.
Tarts.
Do they? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're at the grocery
I can't
store.
remember. But is it
Yeah.
as cultural as it is in the United
No, no,
States?
no. Like,
Yeah.
and what was weird is the first time I actually saw him. So the nearest was at the nearest grocery store, which is like a organic, like somewhat healthy market, not the like
Really?
standard like Aldi
Wow.
or any of the like the normal grocery stores. This is like a local like Biomart, is what they call them,
That
and
kind of surprises me, I'll be
they had a
honest.
stand of Pop Tarts, and I was like, "What is this doing here?" And it was like,
Pop Tarts
yeah,
is one of those foods that I think if a futuristic movie, you know, go like Planet of the Apes, somewhere in the far future, they dig up an old refrigerator or a kitchen or something, and there's a box of Pop Tarts. They open it up and they can eat it.
yeah. It's funny. It turned like no one actually eats a Pop Tart the way you're supposed to eat it. I've never had a Pop Tart the way you're supposed to eat a Pop Tart.
How are you supposed to
Like
eat it?
put it in a toaster.
Oh, you know,
Like
I
toast it.
forgot. Yeah,
Yeah,
I toasted as
exactly,
a kid.
exactly.
I have toasted as a kid, but it may be
I've
because my mom toasted them.
I've never done that before, and I don't care to do it. It's just like they're perfectly fine just out of the packaging. It's
I
just
got to off. What's your favorite Pop Tart?
probably the cookies and cream one,
Ugh.
or the cinnamon. Those are
Uh,
the
I
two
think
the
mine would
classic.
be blueberry or strawberry. I think those are more traditional.
Well, the
It's a
two
generational
classics.
thing.
The two classics are the cinnamon and strawberry, in my opinion. I think those are
Yeah.
the founding Pop Tarts, and
Yeah.
then they branched from there.
So, so that was kind of my entertainment. So I'll give both Third Eye Blind and Seinfeld
And so
the
is Seinfeld a residency?
yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, so
And
people
you know
can
that's
see
one of
him.
those things. The first residency I ever went to was Elton John, and I thought I was stupid for paying that much money, which is now kind of the common price for a concert. But I thought, well, it's our anniversary. We went, and I realized during the concert when the residencies they build these halls for
For the
concerts,
residency.
entertainment. So Elton John sat without a mic on the stage and spoke to the crowd. You could hear him up top,
Yeah,
and the light show, everything was fantastic. So if
that's
you
what.
want, if you want to see a show that's live and you want to hear the music, listen to the people, and be amazed. Now, Rod Stewart was the same way. Phenomenal.
Adele. That's what people say about
Adele,
Adele's show.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
like
I'm not a huge Adele fan, but I'd go see her in Vegas.
the
I
production
actually
value is just on a different level of these like of the residencies.
I actually thought about because Katy Perry was in Vegas the same weekend with her residency, and you know she's a Santa Barbara girl. Uh, but I'm kind of glad I didn't go because I guess the Kardashians were there and brought the Kardashian kids on stage. I don't
Oh,
know if you
interesting.
saw that in the news. It looked kind of dopey, yeah. But that's just
Weird.
me, Katie. You know, I miss you from your
That's
Santa Barbara days.
comedy is a interesting. So back to Seinfeld because a lot of comedians I think nowadays are found via TikTok. Like
Yeah, I
comedians
think
on
you're right.
TikTok is such a massive
Yeah,
genre, and it builds up so many people because you can just get a quick soundbite in there, and it has powered so many guys. There's a guy that I see is regularly performing at the comedy club in Sacramento. I think it's just called the Comedy Club in Old
The one
Sac.
in Old Town? Yeah, that we've been
Yeah.
to. Saw Carl.
Um,
Shout out to Carl LeBeau. Rest in peace, my friend.
he is it's this big black guy, and he's just very funny. He's hilarious, and I regularly see his posts from Sacramento, and he's always there. And
He might
like
be a
he's
local
blown
guy.
up.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's local, but he's blown up a lot on TikTok. There's a guy, he's super popular. His name's Matt Rife. It's like he's a good looking white guy, and he's blown up as a comedian on there.
I will say,
it's just,
TikTok social media, I think, has given them a new venue. I think in the old days it was tough to make it with the Laugh Factory, the Comedy Store. You know, if you got lucky, you know, you got on stage kind of thing.
you get in somewhere to make it.
Yeah,
Like
I think
you
social
couldn't just do
media
it
makes you a
naturally.
name, and then they're more willing to hire you at the Comedy Store.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Laugh
It's a
Factory.
different venue, and it allows a broader amount of people to try to reach a very wide variety of people.
Yeah.
And that's where I found like a lot of shows, and like you, I've the only comedy show I've been that was a large venue was the one I went to in Vienna, with the British guy.
Oh yeah, the guy you really like in the suit.
Yeah,
right? I can't remember his name.
right now, but that was the biggest, by far the biggest I've ever been to. Because I think most comedy shows are best with a smaller audience because you can do like crowd work and everything. Like crowd work is where you get a lot of great.
Is Seinfeld a known comedian in Europe?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about his show is very anecdotal to American life, family life.
I think that's
just
why.
Situational comedy, but I don't know if it would work in Europe, but I guess it does.
I think that's why, is because it is very.
One last question, generational thing. So, would Richard Pryor or Andrew Dice Clay make it nowadays? Because they were so. You think so?
Yeah. I think actually a
lot
of
like
these TikTok comedians are very vulgar. And
but who's the guy? Black comedian, lives in like Iowa. He's the biggest name in comedy right now, and I can't think of it.
Not Kevin Hart.
Starts with a C. Not Chet. He had his own TV show for a while.
Oh,
Kavanaugh.
No.
See, now you're blanking.
Yeah, I'm blanking.
He's hilarious.
Dave
Somewhat offensive. Dave Chappelle. And I mean, he's gotten it. You know, the trans community was all over him, but he has a great response to that. So it's
common. Yeah, but everyone, like, he continues to hit among such a massive audience. Like, as much as people say he's canceled, he's only gotten bigger.
I don't think he's canceled. They tried, and I don't think they can because
that's what, like, it's an interesting dynamic because a lot of the times, like, these comedians will get canceled, but in reality, they just grew. And they just, like, there's some small voice or some small group that just has a loud voice, and they will point out that small, like, 99 out of 100 will be like, holy crap, that's hilarious. The one person, and that's the one person they focus on for some reason. And so they say they're canceled. In reality,
like
the majority don't care. They find it funny.
His latest show on Netflix, where the trans community got all upset with him, he points out that he's making fun of his friend who is a trans, I don't know which trans woman or whatever, and she loves it. I mean, supports him totally. So
that's the thing that's part of the social media. It allows them to grow, but like a small subset will be very loud and megaphones. This like very small thing, and it's in reality like. The majority of people are like, no, that's funny. Like, I'll go see his show or I'll still watch his stuff. Like, it's just like.
Well, I would actually like to go see, and I don't know if he'd be as funny these days as the Dice Man, Andrew Dice Clay. Super offensive, especially to women. But that guy used to sell out multiple nights at Madison Square Garden. That's how big he was. And now,
I've sent you Andrew Schultz, who's like a modern comedian. He's very offensive in his comedy shows, and he does super well.
Yeah.
Like it's like, and he's mega
Yeah.
podcast and everything. Like he's built himself really well, and he's
Sadly, I had hoped to have Carl on this podcast, uh, and saddened by his death. It's been about a year, but I thought he would have been very good. But
yeah.
anyway, let's move it. Since just Vegas, real quick, they are paving Las Vegas Boulevard, so
Yep.
things are moving along.
I saw a TikTok from Formula One Las Vegas on the construction of pit.
The paddock is.
Yeah.
I'm still blown away that it'll be done by November, but they probably had 300 cars parked of construction workers just at the paddock alone.
That's where they were showing the paddock building, and there was like their TikTok was like people didn't expect the paddock building to be finished, and it's like the building is done.
It's funny. Paving. Private companies, private money, how fast things can get done versus government work, or even, the Sphere in Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been building that
that's been a while. Yeah.
I can't remember how long, but now they're rushing to get it done. They're supposedly going to have it operational by November.
Yeah, and so speaking of Las Vegas and sports, I'll get back to F1 because I have something else about that. But that was an interesting viral tweet.
Oh.
Well, about how Vegas has taken the sports world by storm. Because, with the recent news of the A's buying that land.
Yeah, for people, especially in Europe, the Oakland A's, Oakland Athletics. Another team from California has left. Thank you, Maloofs, again. We covered that in a previous episode, and gone to Vegas. So basically the other side of 15.
They're right across from the Oakland Raiders football stadium.
Yeah. And right across. Well, they're down from the Oakland Raiders new stadium, and they're across the freeway from the hockey arena.
Yeah.
So you talk about a mega sports complex.
Well, yeah, and you think in the last 10 years, and I can't remember the full list, but they had the Knights, right? So they built the T-Mobile Arena. The Knights moved in, and they've been an incredible franchise in NHL. Competing
the most successful first year, I think, of any sports franchise.
Yeah, incredible franchise. They had the Raiders move in with an incredible stadium. The Raiders have been extremely successful.
Not yet.
Well, no, successful in
money,
getting people to Vegas and getting putting a great product.
You think about it, the Raiders demographics, and I used to think who was the Raiders owner, Al.
Al. I just knew him as Al. That's the Raiders owner died. Yeah.
So I mean, he was famous. He was a character, and people used to hate him because he moved the Raiders to L.A. But what part of L.A.? Inland Empire somewhere. Anyway, but I thought afterwards, I go, what a great move, because he's just building the fan base. And believe me, people are still loyal to the Oakland Raiders in L.A., in Oakland, and throughout the country. I think they're the number one merchandise team nationally. Raider Nation. And now he's in Vegas, Al Davis. And now he's in Vegas, which is funny because his demographics went to Vegas anyway. They'll sell out every game. I mean, if you go during a Raiders game, Las Vegas Boulevard is packed with Raiders jerseys. And I actually got to see his son. I was at the Tropicana getting my car from the valet, and we started talking and about the Raiders. And he goes, well, Al Davis Jr. lives here.
Mark Davis or Al Davis Jr.?
No, it's Al Davis Jr., I think.
No, Mark Davis is the owner.
Mark Davis is the one with the bowl cut haircut. Okay.
The creepy hair.
He lives in the top floor penthouse while they built his house and built the stadium. And I go, man, you would think a guy that has that much money could afford a barber. And the guy just laughed. And then about 10 minutes later, he walked by came down to get his rolls or whatever.
Yeah, so they grabbed the Raiders, right? And it's been very successful. The team obviously needs to get better, but it's other stuff. They are about to host the Super Bowl. They hosted the NFL draft. They hosted NBA, or they're gonna host NBA All-Star weekend. I think they hosted the NHL All-Star. Like, they are getting so much. There's so much sports.
They host all the major rodeo events.
Yeah.
They host college basketball.
Yep. Oh yeah, the
All the time. Yeah.
NCAA. Yeah, NCAA basketball has
Um,
been
then plus all the
there.
concerts, and now they got F1. And I thought it was
Yes,
a
and then
5-year deal, but
F1.
somebody said they're locked
10
into
year.
10 years.
Yeah, it's a
So
10-year, I believe.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, to see how Las Vegas is, they've always been the entertainment capital of the world, but they were kind of missing sports. And then in the last 10 years, they just got all of it has just
yeah.
come to Vegas and been very successful there.
And again, the Maloofs were very successful in making that happen, except for the Kings franchise,
Yeah,
which
they did.
thankfully they didn't.
Yeah, they did everything up to actually getting their franchise to Vegas.
Yeah, and that's still the one franchise that's not there is basketball.
Yeah,
I could see maybe the Clippers
could definitely be a possibility. But back to where this conversation started. So Formula One, real quick. I really am curious to see your reaction to this if you have not heard it already.
I probably haven't. This is F1 related.
Yeah, not racing related, but I think it's a rumor that has potentially come out within the last week or so. Fernando Alonso is dating, supposedly, Taylor Swift.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
That has come out.
I'm kind of disappointed that.
Why?
Because Taylor Swift, it's oversaturated. I'm like kind of tired of her. I like her. She's
the Dark
attractive. Lord
of Formula One, the Spanish Darth Vader, 41, I believe.
And how old is Taylor Swift? She's like 27.
She's a little bit older than me, I think. So
see, for me, Taylor Swift was great when she was kind of the country folk girl, but my opinion kind of changed. I don't know if you remember this, not this tour, but I think her last one. She would bring celebrities out of the crowd onto stage and kind of hype about it. She brought up Joan Baez in a concert, and you could tell Joan Baez says, I don't want to be here.
Who?
Yeah, you don't even know who Joan Baez is. No. Legendary 60s rock folk singer. Look her up.
I think she's still she's done nothing wrong.
She hasn't done anything wrong. It's just oversaturated.
She's just built an empire.
And I will say she makes me feel good about our F1 tickets and what we paid for them, because the price of a 3-hour Taylor Swift concert is more. Many of the seats are more than we paid for 4 days at the start-finish line
with food and
grandstand
drink.
Formula One with food and drink, non-alcoholic. So I'm sitting, and it just blows me away. Oh, Jack had a friend who went to 2 nights.
Yeah.
He's so consumed with Taylor Swift. So, nothing against her. The overexposure.
Such a wild, combination. That is,
you wonder how they met.
Yeah,
it's hey, I think you're cute, and had their agents get in touch.
Or
here's conspiracy theory.
Single too.
Liberty Media said, how can we keep building on the American franchises of F1? Who's the biggest singer? Taylor Swift. Fernando. Let's get their agents together and throw out this rumor. That's my conspiracy, folks. So.
Yeah, both recently single, so that's
who was he dating before?
I have no idea. I think some Spanish celebrity.
Royalty, right?
No, you're thinking of Carlos Sainz.
See, that's what I kind of like, is they're the Spanish, the European, the royalty family, blue bloods.
It's interesting because she's like the American, essentially princess, right? She's the do no wrong, started as a country girl and now is just this massive international celebrity. And he's the Dark Lord of F1 from Spain with the accent, and he's hilarious, but he's also devious and mischievous.
So you're going with the kind of sexist attitude that good girls like bad boys, rebels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh yeah, that is this relationship in a nutshell. If that is a true relationship,
I don't know exactly his height. She's
I was
going to be
about
a
to bring
lot
that up.
taller.
She's taller than he is, so
I would
and she
say by
wears
a lot.
heels. She wears heels too.
I mean, I think most of the F1 guys are, I don't want to say
Short.
petite men,
No, they're
shorter
short.
men. They're like
Yeah,
Tom Cruise of
they have
acting,
to.
you know, so
Yeah,
they,
it's
yeah, to fit
part
in
of
the
racing. It's
cars.
like a jockey. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the tallest I think is either George Russell or Ocon. I think.
Probably
Yeah,
George Russell. I've
one
got,
of yeah. There's some of the couple of the younger drivers are pretty tall, but yeah,
so not big news, but actually it
I
would have been better. What's his name? The
culturally
Aussie.
related.
The Aussie that does no,
Lando?
no, no,
No, he's not Aussie. Oscar?
no.
Daniel
He's no
Ricciardo?
longer Daniel Ricciardo. I would
Oh,
have loved that because he would have made fun of it and laughed about it. He
yeah.
would have been going on stage and hamming it up in a
He was
cowboy hat and
he
stuff.
was he was on stage in I think in Vegas at a like a DJ set. He's
Good.
like in between races or something.
See, that
Yeah.
makes more sense to me because he's a fun guy to seems to be
Yeah,
around. You
he's
know,
been. I think he's having a great
great.
off season.
Yeah.
Not racing. He's doing a lot of stuff. He'll be racing at the Red Bull Grand Prix. I don't know exactly what the cars are, but at the Nürburgring,
Oh, really?
Red Bull has a race in September,
Yeah.
and he's going to be
Oh,
a
that'd be fun.
driver.
You gonna go to it?
I don't. Maybe may have
Yeah.
to now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so F1's finally back. It's gotten a little delusional. It's been like a month since the last race, so
Yeah.
the fans have been a little delusional, and so maybe this is just a delusional rumor, but it's quite an interesting one.
Like I said, my conspiracy might work out to be true.
But yeah, race week is back, so
Good.
one that
Well, since we're on sports somewhat, not really. Actually, that was a good meshing of the two topics. You got the music entertainment world blending into sports F1, and now you've had a busy couple of weeks, I think. You had your first JKU Astros practice
first time,
with.
yeah, first time on the field with another team. We'll say that.
And
Yeah,
that was the Vikings from Vienna, the dominant
the Emperors.
Emperors. Okay.
Yeah, so the University of
Oh,
Vienna.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Emperors. Yeah, the Vikings.
Vikings are the professional team that would not have
team,
gone well.
Yeah. But yeah, we had a joint practice, just like NFL teams do, where you just have a practice, like little scrimmages during the practice, so not like an official scrimmage or anything, against the University of Vienna Emperors. And the Emperors are their founding team in the league. They've won the championships before. They're reigning champions, but they have won past championships. And they're a very good team, well coached, a lot of players that know how to play football. And it was good to be able to be on the field with them. We're obviously a brand new team. We're still getting guys into playing football and how to play football and like what it's like. And so, when you're practicing against yourself and you're, learning technique and just learning the basics of the game, you kind of you don't know what game speed is like, and you don't know what it's like to play against other players that are not your teammates and that have been playing for, a lot of them a couple of years. And that game speed, right? It's a whole different thing, game speed. And I know it was just a practice, but it was, a lot of players, it was eye opening for them to really see, what it's like against some experienced players and how fast the pace of play is.
I will say, watching the videos that have been released on social media, I was kind of surprised. You have some quick guys. It looked like some pretty soft hands. So they were running routes. It's hard to tell the defense, but I would be curious the hitting, because you and I, pretty much everybody involved with youth sports, especially up in the football, when a kid first joins, it's going to take usually about a year before they understand how to hit, when to hit, why to hit, and don't back off, like you experienced with the Oklahoma drills. But so I'm wondering, was there much hitting? Was it
not as much, because it was still practice, and they're in their they just started the second half of their season, so I know they don't they're getting in their games, so we weren't full full hitting, right?
Did you do
Um,
any Oklahoma's hitting drills at all?
no, we did some full go kind of scrimmaging with tackling and
Yeah.
everything.
Would you
And
say the Emperors were the more aggressive or
yeah,
comfortable
definitely,
being okay?
definitely, and I will point this out too. Like from what you saw and everything, our team, like from practice and stuff, a little banged up injury wise. We were missing a lot of players, and we had fundamentally, like at least I know for sure on offense, our defense had most of the guys playing, but again, a lot of like banged up guys and
Yeah, you
injuries
had
and
no O
stuff.
line, right?
Yeah. And so in our receiving core was down, so we had a lot of guys filling in at positions they just don't even play or practice. And when you we're a new team and we're still learning a lot of stuff, it was tough. Like we were throwing guys in that had never played or ran routes wide
In
receiver
their
position,
lives. Yeah.
and they're going against another team. And like knowing that, I was pretty proud of what they did and how they performed, because they looked like they could compete. Even though we put them in a brand new position, we're
Yeah.
saying, hey, like I'm like telling these guys where to line up and what's your route, and they're going to do it, and like is their first time lining up in that spot, but they went out and did it and performed pretty admirably, and it was pretty good
So,
to see.
anyone out there listening or watching, if you have a family member, friend, or maybe you're an old coach and they want to continue playing football at the university level in Europe, probably high school level here, want to go to school in Europe, want to travel in Europe, message
Some
Carson or message
opportunities.
us.
Yeah.
He needs an O line, and you would probably be
I
well
I
received.
I think we look. I know we're like the guys that on the team know this. Like we're always looking for a line, right? But you know, the guys that we do have now, um, if we continue to show up to practice and start to work
Mature.
together as a team and learn like the stuff we're doing, like the guys we have can be very successful in this league as
Yeah.
an O line.
Well,
Um,
you've got the two best quarterbacks in the league, I
yeah,
understand.
I think we have the two best quarterbacks in the
You
league.
get some
Yeah, that's
receivers
my
and some
opinion.
pass protection, you could have a
Yeah, and
fun
I think the guys we
season.
have on our line can be successful. It's they gotta make the choice to want to be successful and want to play that line and want to be a successful group of five O linemen there, because I think they can be. It's just putting in the effort to be one of those five guys and want to be on the field and want to be playing that.
Man, to win your first game in an inaugural season would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be good. That'd be big. But yeah, we're looking forward. I think we can compete definitely, and but it was definitely a eye opening experience for a lot of guys on the team.
Yeah.
And they definitely showed they needed a little bit more conditioning.
And I think to conditioning, yeah. Well, you only have practice 2 times a week, so if they're
Yeah,
not doing it on their own, it's not going to happen.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what's tough about it.
Yep.
So, were the Emperors and were they huffing and puffing, or they were in
No,
magnificent
no,
shape?
they were much better condition. Yeah, and they
Interesting.
had they're in the middle of their season, so
Did
they
the
were
players
ready to go.
realize that they were
Oh
needed
yeah,
to step?
they
Okay.
they knew by the just after warm ups they needed a little bit more conditioning.
Do they have weight rooms? And I didn't even ask that before. Is there a place
Uh,
to go?
I mean, we
No.
have a gym on campus that they have free access to as players,
Would it be
and
like your
then
high school gym, your
yeah,
football weight
yeah.
room?
It's smaller. It's not as much. It's
Free
actually
weights?
yeah. They have everything. It's just like they have one of everything kind
Uh,
of set up, and it's you can only have a certain amount of people in there at a time at that gym. But most of the players have local like gym memberships at other gyms around town.
hmm.
Most of them have that. So, and I know a lot of them regularly go. So it'll take some time, and we'll get the running conditioning in at practice, and then we'll hit the weights and everything on their own time, which they do
But
a lot.
tomorrow is your tryout to try and find some additional players,
Yep. Yeah, I think we have
right?
about 20 coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So it'll
that's
be
good.
interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Looking forward to that. And then this weekend, yesterday was the game day 3 of the ACSL season, this current season. So some of our players and myself were at the games yesterday.
Yeah, and again, to repeat previous episodes, the Austrian collegiate sports leagues, their games are all on the same day at the same stadium. So it's almost like a football fest.
Yeah, yep.
College football fest.
Yeah, and they had so the Emperors actually weren't playing this weekend. They had the bye week.
They had the bye week.
Yeah, and there was the first game. It was the Med Uni Serpents against the TU, the Technical University Robots. Again, both Vienna teams. The Robots are the reigning champions of or excuse me, not the Robots. The Tigers of the business school, the VU. Tigers is who they played.
They beat the Emperors in the Summer Bowl last summer?
The Robots did last summer.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
They won the championship last summer. But the Tigers beat the Emperors in their opening game this year. And so the Tigers actually in first place. They won yesterday against the Med Uni Serpents 40-0, I believe it was. The Med Unis, the Med Uni Serpents, they put a lot of effort and they had a lot of pride, but not the best team. They also don't have a lot of numbers on their team.
So that's probably the team you're hoping to have your inaugural game with.
It would be nice, yeah. But they had like 28, 29 players. They had some moments, but yeah, didn't put any points on the board, but they'd play with a lot of pride, and it's good to see.
Good. Well, well, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say the second game was the Boku Bees against.
I do like that name.
The TU Robots. I posted actually about the games on the college football subreddit, which is a very popular subreddit on Reddit, and someone commented they saw the Bees uniforms. They're like, I really like the Boku Bees uniforms.
Well, you got to admit it's colorful. It's colorful.
Yeah. And they spelled bees, I think, with the Z.
It would have been funny though if they were called the Bucks, Boku Bucks. Lots of money. Yeah. But I on social media I saw the post about a girl was holding up a sign at the games that said "Go Astros," and the comment was like, "Hey, great spirit, but you still have to wait another season or something like that."
We're not playing until next season.
That's good. So you guys will win the enthusiasm award.
They were reusing so there were actually two signs. There was another JKU sign too, but they were reusing those signs. On the other side, they had signs for the Robots.
Yeah.
So it was during the Robots and Bees game, and they had like Go Robots on the other side of the sign. So when they held up the Go Robots, and all the JKU, like our team was like sitting above them, we'd see the like Go Astros on the.
Oh, really? You should get some pictures of that and post it for yourself. So a lot of guys from the team went.
I think we had like 10 or so guys out there. Yeah.
The fans all go clubbing afterwards.
Yeah, a lot of them went to the after party. Some of the guys, they went to the after party and took the first train back, supposedly to Linz the next morning.
So the first train's what time?
Yeah, like 4:30 or 5, something like that.
So they're partying. Let's see, the games are probably over by what, 8?
They were over at like 8. Probably got some food,
and then head to the club.
Yeah, maybe a bar before the club or something. But yeah, they have a official after party. Yeah,
that's why I definitely want to come to a game. It just sounds, especially it looks like yesterday's. Was it yesterday? Yesterday's game. The weather looked perfect. Looked like a sunny spring day. The uniforms are so colorful. The field looked pretty good. And then the people in the stands, and I wanted to go to the snack bar. Have
the massive burgers.
It looks incredibly good.
Yeah, that massive.
Do they have fries? I never see fries in any of the.
No, they have. No, they did yesterday. They had a food truck that was selling fries. They had Yeah.
Oh, and then a beer and maybe a shot of Jaeger, and then listen to the club DJ between announcements of first downs.
A lot of the football players, like and myself, complain because they're just constantly playing music during the game. Yeah, but yeah, it's an interesting dynamic because the majority of people in the stands, like our college students, probably don't know a lot of what's going on the field.
Zip. It's all about the excitement, I think.
They go there and the alcohol is free flowing, and it's just they sit there for hours upon hours just drinking and drinking, right?
Yeah, but
Spritzer and
could you
beer,
imagine,
right?
like yourself, you could play, or like from Jack's University, Bemidji, a guy that was maybe third string, maybe saw a couple of plays all year, decides to go and get his master's at JKU, finds out there's a football team and starts. I mean, he would have a great time.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because
I
like
would.
the players at the end of the game, obviously, like girlfriends and friends are in the stands, so they go over to the stands and like say hi, and the fans hand them a can of beer. They're just like on the field, like drinking right after the
Probably a
game.
cigarette, a few of them too.
Yeah,
I
definitely,
think what you
definitely.
said, one of your players was smoking during
Yeah.
practice once. So yeah, it just sounds like a charming, fun time. We take football very seriously here. It is
Yeah.
fun, the tailgating. They don't need to tailgate in Vienna because it's in the stadium.
Yeah, it's just part of this. That's part of the
So
game. Yeah, but yeah, it's a fun experience, and it's definitely growing, um and hopefully that from what I've heard, JKU is so if you don't know, all the teams currently in the league are in Vienna,
yeah,
and JKU is not. So we are in Linz, right? We're in Upper Austria,
hour
about
train ride.
hour and a half
Mm,
by car, hour train. So we're outside Vienna, so we're like the experiment, right? That all goes well, so they can show like other universities, other towns, like, hey, look at Linz and what it's done for them.
yeah,
And so far, I think it's been very successful, growing up fan base and
yeah. I
getting
would
people
think the
excited.
second expansion would probably be Graz. Would
Graz,
make
but they've
sense to
also
me.
talked Innsbruck, I think,
Oh,
is where they're also looking,
was the
which is even
university that
further.
big? Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah, I think it's definitely big enough to support a program,
yeah. Huh.
and they have a very big, not very big, but a big football community there because the Raiders, so the Tyrol Raiders, who play in the European League of Football, they play in the Austrian Football League. They're very successful,
I
and they
wonder if
are
they would admit
in
other
Innsbruck.
countries like the Czech Republic. Prague
Yeah,
used to have a pretty good football team, and then Hungary, which you said
yeah,
there's some news out of Hungary on their football.
yeah. So on the European League of Football is on a side note, a tangent, but
The
I saw
EFL,
ELF,
ELF.
Elf,
Yeah,
the Elf. Yeah, they the Hungarian team, the Enthroners, actually released.
which is
It's a great name.
well, I could get the Impalers, but that would be Romania.
Yeah. But the Enthroners dismissed, or they released their quarterback, and they signed a ex Virginia Tech quarterback, Gerard Evans, who was quarterback when I was a student at Virginia Tech. He didn't leave the best taste in the mouth of Hokie fans because he had a successful year as a junior and then declared for the draft. And no one thought he should have declared. He was not near
I kind of
ready,
remember. Yeah,
and
but
he
now
would
he's
have had
playing
a
in
very
Hungary.
successful senior year, and he didn't get drafted in the NFL. And now he's in Hungary in the ELF. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
would
it's
be
cool to
interesting
see.
to bump into
Yeah,
him, go to his game,
yeah.
and wear your VT
A
gear.
VT hoodie, yeah. So
Yeah,
that was interesting to see come across my news feed today. But yeah, so it's yeah, drone football in Austria, drone the sports in Austria, collegiate
American football.
sports, yeah, American football.
But you've also had some
Um,
Euro football this weekend.
yeah, I went
Today.
to today, yeah, earlier today, another last match. They played the Rapid of Vienna, the Green and Whites, and very successful game, very exciting for the Lincers, the last team. Ended up 3-1 victory for last, um, and
Sold
yeah, pulled
out.
it. Not sold out, no. Good crowd, 17,500 announced crowd.
I saw the
Good size.
Vienna fans were blockaded up in a corner somewhere.
Yeah, they have a cage for the away team. Basically, it's a corner setting.
I love that.
They're pretty rowdy. They at one point
Smoke
during the
bombs.
game, yeah, it's such kind of weird. They were chanting and there was an injury for a last player, and like where the trainers had to come on the field and they actually took the player off the field. Um, and he was down for a while. But during that time, they were like chanting, and then it led to them lighting a ton of flares, like 20 flares in their
Could
small
you hear what they
section.
were chanting?
No, they weren't saying anything. They were just like chanting. Um,
No.
but they lit all the flares, and during the injury timeout, which is kind of weird, and then just smoke poured everywhere. I couldn't see, like I was looking through like a cloud
Fog.
to
Yeah.
see the field, because I was like just down the section from them.
It is weird that a lot of European sports are like that. They haven't done it at any of the football games, have they?
I saw one couple
Because like
football game days ago.
F1 they do it.
Yeah,
European football, soccer they do it. But
basketball games
have they
and
do not
indoor.
inside?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Oh yeah. In like Slovenia and in Slovakia. Yeah,
Boy,
I've
that
seen
has
it.
never has that ever been done in the U.S.?
Nah. I mean, I've
I guess we're
seen,
more
yeah,
paranoid about that. And,
At MLS games. I have seen them. Yeah.
oh, okay.
I've never seen them at any other sporting event. I don't think they would immediately kick you
No.
out. But at
Yeah, because
MLS they do
in Europe they don't
regularly.
search you like they do like women's
They do
handbags.
pat you
They do.
down and search badge. Yeah.
Do they
And
require like
they have the
clear
riot police
plastic?
ready.
Yeah,
No, they don't require clear
that's
plastic.
more to beat the hooligans up and get them out of the stadium.
But yeah, they
Hmm.
like it's a regular, like it's just regularly scheduled. Like they coordinate their flares to go off.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I like it. It's fun, but
I've seen
yeah.
it. I've seen it in the MLS. Yeah, for sure. I've seen it there.
Okay.
It's just just different.
Well, staying on the soccer subject, the
I think I know where you're
celebrity-owned
going.
team, yeah,
Go
has
ahead.
been elevated.
Yeah, I was. I caught the tail end of the game because it was after the, or as I was leaving the football in Vienna yesterday. The tail end of the game I caught on my phone.
But it wasn't as good as the last game against their kind of rivals.
It's not. Yeah, so we are speaking of Wrexham, the team from Wales, owned by
the Canadian
Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Famous because they have the show Welcome to Wrexham, also on FX, the team and everything.
Great show. So working class town, Wales.
Yeah, so it's extremely popular show in the U.S. They've become, a massive club international or in the U.S. and obviously in Wales because of the owners and the TV show. And they so I'll speak on their previous match they played. Notts County, who has been their rivals in the race to the title this year, and they did something that's never been done before. They met, I think it was a week ago, with both teams at 100 points or higher at the latest point in the season. It's never been done in English football divisions before.
What do you mean? Their point totals for the year from wins?
At over 100 points for each of them. Yeah.
So they're both leading in the league, or
so it was like I think it was like 103 to 101 or something like that, or 100, where Wrexham was on top. But yeah, they were both fighting at the top. Incredible seasons. The top goal scorer in the league was for Notts County, but the most valuable player is probably Wrexham's striker. Had incredible seasons. Both clubs are massive clubs too. So Notts County is a very important English club.
You can't say massive compared to the Premier League stuff.
For what they are, they're very old clubs.
Yeah,
they're very old clubs.
And if you've watched the show, you see that it's a working class town.
Yeah.
Everything kind of centered around their football soccer team, and it goes back. I mean, they would show clips of back, I think, in the '60s. It's all black and white.
I think they're the third oldest international club in the world.
But to put it in terms, they've sucked for probably 2 decades at least.
They've been stuck in the 5th league, which is a technically non-league. So it's not. Yeah. It's
the lowest kind of the low.
Well, it's not the lowest, but it's not technically full-time football. So
the next
that's
league
right. Up is full-time.
The pay. The players did not get. It would be like, I don't know.
So some players
baseball.
Some players they play against have normal jobs, right? the players for Wrexham don't, but Wrexham is typically a club that's bigger than that lead, but they've been stuck in this lead for 16 years
because they've sucked. Kind of like the
they've
Kings
sucked.
have for 16 years.
Yeah, and they were like they have been a very big club in like English football, one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest in Wales too. They've just fell on hard times. They talked about it in the show and in the game.
The previous owners were kind of sucking off money for something. I can't remember what it was.
At one point, the fans had a bag of cash they brought to pay the players just to keep them going, so they could the team can sad. Go on. Yeah. The stadium which is one of the oldest stadiums, if not the oldest in international football. The race course. It's like falling apart, and the story Rob and Ryan and. Join up the team and invest a lot and grow and
they've done nothing about the sport. That's the other thing.
They've been very pure about what they're doing. Like they're not an owner that's come in and what's the correct way to phrase this? They didn't come in for the money, right? They came in and they knew what they were buying into. They knew they were buying into this club that meant so much to this hardcore working class town.
Somewhat athletes in their own. They wanted to be successful and win.
Yeah,
not just for themselves, but for the people of the town.
Yeah, and they've invested a ton in the town too, and the surrounding community.
And basically, it was Rob.
It was Rob's first idea first.
Yeah, he's the one that brought it to Ryan Reynolds, and so it went from there.
Yeah, and so back to their game. So they played Notts County in one of the most incredible sporting events I've watched, at least regular season sporting events I've ever watched. That game, I'm talking on the field, the game was an incredible watch. I watched every minute of that match. Again, the two top teams in the league by far. It was one of the best matches I've ever watched, games I've ever watched. So Wrexham went on to win that, and they went they went 3 more points ahead, and then they came into this weekend playing against Boreham Wood, and they needed to win. And
this was the one that would seal it.
Yeah, there's 2 games left, and if they won today, they would seal victory. They'd seal the title of the National League, which is the league they're currently in, which secures them automatic promotion up to the English League, the League 2. And they won. Yeah, they won 3-1. 2 goals from Mullen, the guy who's led them throughout the year. Fantastic goals too, and the emotion that came out of not only Ryan and Rob, right? They were both crying on camera, which is super cool to see because you really see how much they were invested in it. And like
fans rushed the field.
Yeah, they showed them on the cameras. They were tensed up before the game, like minutes before, and they were up 3-1. And even in the extra time,
emotionally invested in it, not just financially.
Yeah, they were in the extra time when they were up 2 goals, a minute left before the whistle was blown. They were like very anxious and nervous, right? And then when the whistle, like it kind of all released, and the fans rushed the field. It was just a huge celebration for everyone.
Did you like my post about Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
I know I'm sure he spilled a beer in his crotch, but he's got his hands up in the air with the Riveter trophy, and it looks like he pissed his pants.
Yeah.
But that said, if I'd have just won that and I pissed my pants, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, and to like in the reception that they have received from like all the fans from Wrexham, but from Wales and from England, within the sport too, has been like really shown a lot about how they are as owners too, because no one's dissing them as an owner, right? As
which is very different than
Todd Bowley of Chelsea.
Yeah, the Middle Eastern owners, the American owners of other Premier League teams are liked.
The clearest examples are Todd Bowley of Chelsea, who owns the Dodgers, and the family, the American family that owns Manchester United, who are Todd Bowley is a brand new owner, and they're both Manchester fans and United fans and Chelsea fans hate both of their owners. And Chelsea spent an insane sum of money in the recent transfer window, and it's done nothing for them. They're having a terrible year.
Going back to
They're almost
Wrexham,
in the relegation.
so they moved up. What's the next league they would go to if they get?
Yeah, so they're going to League Two. It's the fourth league below. So you have Premier League, you have the Championship, you have League One, and then League Two is the
So
next.
Wrexham was in the Premier League, or what became the Premier League back in like the '60s, right? Could they?
I don't know if they were
to the top. Well, whatever the top level was back then.
I don't even know if they made it to the top. They may have been for a little while, but they were never like, the big six Premier, or anything. Like they were never that big, but they were one of the best, if not the best club in Wales for sure.
I just wonder how far they can get.
That's an interesting. That's what a lot of people. This could be the start of like an incredible story, like getting Wrexham up there, because there's no teams from Wales in the Premier League. I don't think there has been. There are 4 teams right now in League Two from Wales, which I think is the most they've ever had.
Yeah, I would love to visit Wrexham, but I kind of feel like
a lot of people are doing it.
Yeah, it's great for the economy, great for tourism, but I kind of think, fair weather fan. I hate to do that.
Yeah.
I got to go visit the team up in
Sunderland.
Sunderland forever.
Another team that needs to get back to the Premier League. Yeah, that's another team just like Wrexham, but on a bigger scale. Sunderland.
That's why I like it. It's working class underdogs.
Working class, far
not
north.
Not a lot of
town.
money. Far north.
Yeah, way
so
outside.
Maybe that'll be my only European football goal is to someday go to Sunderland.
Yeah, if you ever want to watch something on Netflix, Sunderland Till I Die is a show, and I recommended it to you a few years back, and it's a fantastic show. And it's Sunderland is very similar to Wrexham, but on a bigger scale. So they have one of the biggest and most loyal fan bases in all of football. They're a hardcore fan base. Their stadium's called the Stadium of Light, which is super cool. And it's a very well-known and kind of famous stadium within English football. They're from the super far north, like the very coast of the north of England.
Closest to the North Pole.
Yeah, their fans are diehard for their team, but they've been stuck in the Championship and not back. They've played a lot in the Premier League, but they haven't been there recently. And they're similar to how Wrexham was stuck in the National League.
Yeah.
And they just have this huge fan base and huge amount of support, but stuck in somewhere they're not wanting to be in.
Well, that said, how about we end it so we can go watch your favorite team, the Sacramento Kings?
Not my favorite, but my favorite basketball team. Yes, I'll say that.
Well, your favorite team out of Sacramento. How's that?
Yeah, my favorite. Yeah. Well, that's easy to say. If you don't know, the only professional sports franchise in Sacramento.
There's a AAA team, the River Cats.
Not a professional team.
Yeah, they get paid. That's professional.
But it's not a professional team.
Yes, it is. Same with the soccer team.
We're talking MLB, NBA, NFL, like that.
Sacramento soccer team could be there someday.
Yeah, they should have been.
So that said,
the noon game time.
Carson wants them to light the beam during the day to see if it works during the day.
They won't. They don't.
Which is it's a matinee game, so actually Carson and those folks globally can actually watch the game at a somewhat decent hour, not midnight or 1 a.m.
Which is weird given they're West Coast teams, 2 West Coast teams, but
it is very weird.
Yeah, to have them the noon game, I just don't understand why they're doing that. It doesn't make any sense to me. But hopefully the Kings go up 3-1 tonight. They're playing. It's in San Francisco too.
Yeah, which should be highly unlikely since the last time the Kings won, there was like 2016 or something.
What do you mean they won a cup? They won the first 2 games.
No, they haven't won there yet in years.
Well, they haven't played.
They've got the best home record of any team. I mean, they've only lost the Warriors have only lost a couple of games at home.
Yeah,
their home record's far superior than their away record.
Yeah, but the Kings,
they got a chance. I think they can do it. Yeah.
They need to take this. They need to take this game. They need to go up 3-1. If they come back to Sacramento 2-2 against Steph Curry and the Warriors,
they were cold
they played
Their
bad.
3-point shots were, I mean, they looked like I was shooting them. So.
But yeah, they the darlings of the NBA this season. Everyone's fallen in love with the little old Kings. Just good to see because everyone hates on the Kings so
now
much.
I don't feel bad about my Christmas gift to get Fabi, the Kings shirt.
Oh, you got him a Kings shirt. That's right. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's actually very funny.
next time if you see him, you have to ask him about it.
You should tell him you should tell him to wear it right now.
Yeah.
But,
all right.
Yeah, we'll sign
talk
off from
soon.
here.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's all on all the streaming platforms.
YouTube, all your favorite streaming / podcasting platforms.
Tell a friend.
And we'll see you again soon.
Cheers. Bye. Till next time.